Nico Hulkenberg.
Nico.
The Hulk. The man himself. After 15 years, 239 starts, the man finally got his maiden podium. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Around the Circuit, Apollo Media's Formula One podcast. As always, I'm Junior, joined by Mark today. Ivan couldn't make it, so you can just get us two today. We are officially halfway through the F1 calendar. Race 12 happened in Silverstone, and it was nothing but pure chaos.
Yeah.
We had 2 virtual safety cars, 2 full safety cars. If you looked at the top 10, you wondered how some of them got there.
Yeah.
5 out of the 6 rookies either did not start or did not finish.
Yeah.
Ollie was the only survivor.
If he didn't,
and that's because him and Esteban decided to Aura farm in the middle of the race and spin out. Had synchronized spinning.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I think the one moment that we can pretty much every F1 fan has been celebrating has been the podium. Nico Hulkenberg.
Nico.
The Hulk. The man himself. After 15 years, 239 starts, the man finally got his maiden podium. And like I said, I haven't seen one negative thing about it
at all.
All the other drivers were congratulating him. I don't know. It was just a chaotic race. McLaren still did their thing. Lando won.
Yeah.
After a Oscar penalty, which we can get into here in a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, McLaren is just rain, no rain.
It doesn't
street
matter.
Tracks.
10-second penalty doesn't matter. He's still going to finish in the top 3.
Yeah, it's insane. A 10-second penalty, and he's still P2, 30 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. I don't know. Thoughts, Mark? Because
I mean, it was a chaotic race. It was a good race to watch. I know we talked about the F1 movie, like newcomers, like, hey, don't expect it. They got a good race.
Yeah, they really did. Anybody who watched their first race got a really good one.
Yeah, so I mean,
I guess you could say
Nico Hulkenberg. You saying it. 15 years. 200 and how many?
39 starts.
39.
This was his 239th start. And he finally got podium.
Crazy watching it happen. Obviously, I'm the Lewis guy, and watching Lewis lose the podium streak at Silverstone was tough.
Yeah. But
immediately I was like, man, screw it. Like, Nico Hulkenberg's about to get his first podium. I can set aside my bias and my depression for one race.
There was a point where Lance Stroll and Nico Hulkenberg were fighting for P3. If anyone had that on their bingo card at any point in 2025, you're lying. But if you did, man,
congrats.
Kudos, I guess. Like, I don't even know.
If you just had Nico getting like on podium, like, congrats.
Yeah, it's just, and then he finally makes a podium and he gets a Lego trophy. Shout out Lego for being like super involved in this season, but a Lego trophy was
interesting.
Was different. Interesting.
It looks cool, but I mean, guy who's worked 15 years to get there and he only gets a Lego trophy.
It's tough, man.
Meanwhile, Lando, the winner, is the only one that gets the real trophy.
Yeah, and I think in the post-race conference, Oscar asked, he goes, how does it feel like after 15 years to finally make podium and you get a trophy that you could take apart? And he goes, well,
they're going to be selling next week.
He goes, I'll let my kid play with it. She loves Legos.
Yeah.
Man, I think that was just the highlight of the race is Nico finally getting the podium. Lego trophy or not, I mean, it was well overdue. I think I saw Carlos had said that when you look at his race skill and abilities, that he's probably one of the top 5 drivers on the grid, according to Carlos. And he's just been stuck racing for Haas, Renault, Kick Sauber.
Bad teams.
Just bad teams with slow cars. And he has actually gotten a lot out of a lot of those cars.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned it in the last couple episodes. Sauber has, whatever upgrades they've brought have been working.
Yeah.
Nico Hulkenberg and Kick Sauber in the last 4 Grand Prix have outscored Red Bull.
Yeah, I saw that. And I was going to tell you about that. Let's kill about that.
I mean, it's just a testament to one, what Sauber's doing with their car.
Yeah.
Especially with next year, they become Audi. Yeah. They're only going to get better, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then it's a testament to just how bad Red Bull is right now. Yuki, I had it talking about Red Bull. Yuki has had terrible luck in qualifying.
Yeah.
He, has had issue after issue, which has ruined his qualifying. And then he starts at the back of the pack. And to me, like, he's had penalties in the last 2 races. He's finished last in the last 2 races. I feel like the pressure is getting to him and he's doing too much on race day.
Yeah.
He's trying to make up all the lost places, all the lost time from qualifying the next day. And it's just, I think he's overdriving the car, if we're being honest. Yeah. And that's hard to do with the freaking sailboat that Red Bull has given them this season. Yeah. I mean, Max doing what he's done in this car just gets even more impressive in my eyes, especially when he pulls out laps like he did in qualifying to make pole. I mean, I was happy with the pole. I had a feeling we weren't going to win the race. I would have loved a podium.
Yeah.
But
shit happens.
Yeah, shit happens. And I think what really bit Max is his setup. I don't know if you saw what they were running. They were running a very skinny rear wing.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so it gave them a lot of downforce and a lot of speed into the fast corners.
Yeah.
Which obviously helped in qualifying. But that setup in the rain.
Yeah. Completely screwed him after what happened with Oscar. Yeah. Going out of that corner after and he just spun out and dropped 8 places?
Yeah, he dropped from, what was it, P1, P2?
Yeah.
P2 down to P10.
Yeah. Just insane. And obviously, tough weekend for both of them. I mean, like we said, if Red Bull keeps on this decline, those 2 drivers are not going to be with the team anymore.
No.
I mean, we even there's the other news that this past weekend, Max to Mercedes, apparently that's been heating up.
I think the most interesting thing about all this news, is that Max has not denied it.
No.
I think he has said, yes, I've said I want to stay with the team. I would like to stay with the team.
Yeah.
I would love the idea of staying with one team my whole career. But every time they ask him, he's like, I'd rather not talk about it.
Yeah.
We've said it before. I even said it last week. When there's rumors, and I think I got this line from Will Buxton and one of the early seasons of Drive to Survive. He said, when there's rumors on the paddock, they're for a reason.
Yeah.
And, I like the old saying is where there's smoke, there's fire. Or if it looks like shit, smells like shit, it's probably shit. You know what I mean? I think there's talks going on. I think Max is very interested in seeing what Mercedes can do, especially with the new
He's already seen what they can do this year.
I mean, we've seen what they can do this year. And then they're looking like a strong favorite next year going into the new regs. I don't know, man.
I mean, all I'm going to say, I was talking with Dom before this, our George Russell guy. I'm like, George Russell has been through the grind. He went through the years of Williams.
Yeah.
And he's grinded all the way up, team up with Lewis. Now he's the number 1 driver. He's been consistent for you, been that guy. But with all due respect, if Max Verstappen comes calling, you pick up the phone and you offer a blank check, because Max Verstappen is the greatest driver in this generation. And you don't, I put in the comparison, this is if Baker Mayfield was on your team and then Patrick Mahomes called up and said, hey, I want to come play for your team. You don't say no to that.
You don't say no to that.
You don't say no. So, I mean, that's the comparison I have.
Yeah. And I think we've agreed Yuki's probably done with Red Bull. With the Honda partnership ending there this season, and then with the way things have gone, I don't think there's going to be a mutual attraction next year.
No.
I think, especially with Cadillac and other teams looking for drivers, Yuki's going to have a shot at a seat next year. It's just not going to be with Red Bull.
No.
So there's very well a huge possibility that Christian Horner could be looking to fill 2 seats come off season.
Even if he's with the team anymore. I mean, we have no idea at this point.
And I said it before. I think my thought is, if you lose a driver like Max Verstappen because you failed to produce a car that kept him competitive, you lose your job.
I mean, yeah.
You lost. Not only did you lose a 4-time world champion driver in Sebastian Vettel because your car sucks.
Yeah.
You finally got a competitive car, a dominant car, and you lost the next generational talent in Max Verstappen after 4 titles.
Like, talk about deja vu, man.
Yeah, it's a whiplash to Christian Horner. And sorry, bud, but you had 2 chances. Maybe there needs to be a change.
Yeah.
And I think there's a very high possibility his seat is on fire if he loses Max.
Yeah.
Speaking of Max, though, in the race, this is the second time it's happened to him. The second time it's happened to him. It happened in Canada.
Yeah.
George brake checked him.
Yeah.
There was no penalty. They said that George only applied 30 PSI of brake pressure. Didn't warrant a penalty. Whatever. Yeah. Oscar did the same thing this race. And he was upset because he received a 10-second penalty for, I don't even know what the verbiage was, but it was.
I don't even remember.
I think it was just like unsafe driving under a safety car or something like that. Safety car infringement, I think.
Yeah, safety car infringement.
I see his argument. 10 seconds is very harsh.
Yeah.
Very harsh. I understand what he was trying to do to Max.
Yeah.
It worked. It ruined Max's race because he hit the brakes. Max has hit the brakes. He loses all that temperature in his tires. He tries to gas it too quick. Tires are too slick, especially with the rain. He spins out, loses 8 places. Oscar says, "Ha, I'm free of Max Verstappen. Now I only got to worry about a teammate." I saw the numbers. They said he applied 60 PSI of pressure. Yeah. Double what George did.
Yeah.
Slowed the car from 218 kilometers per hour, I think it was.
Yeah.
To 52. Like, he almost came to a dead stop.
You look at the replay, like, it literally, like, almost a dead stop.
And I think the best part was the front view. When you see him brake, Max goes past him and brakes, and then you see everyone else just like, it's almost like
spreading out.
Just like, spreading out across the track.
Like,
just trying to
guys, what the hell are we doing?
And I think me and you talked about it just before. Nico even said, like, in the cooldown room, he was like, "Oh, that was you."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I felt that all the way back to me. We had to avoid cars." I think that says something.
I mean,
because I think at the time Nico was in the middle of the pack. He wasn't all the way in the back, but he was in the middle of the pack by then. And even he was like, "Yeah, dude, you too." Like, dude, he's like, that was a little much. And I saw something on Twitter. There was like, you could see in Nico's face when Oscar said that there was like a moment of realization, like, that was you? Okay, asshole. But yeah, man, I think Oscar did what he did. Deserved a penalty. 5 seconds would have been enough, I think. 10 seconds was a little harsh.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
It's in Silverstone. The British bias comes up.
Yeah, it always comes up.
At the end of the day, it helped Lando win the race. He won at home. He won his... I mean, not many drivers can say they won at home. Yeah. So kudos to Lando for doing what he needed. The Lando stands. Doing what he needed to do. Drove the race he needed to drive.
Yeah.
Won at home. But that's a huge swing when it comes down to them two fighting for the Drivers' Championship. Mm-hmm. Max has already said he's not even looking at championships anymore. No. Constructors, McLaren has run away with. The drivers, McLaren. It's between the McLaren boys. They've proven they're fast everywhere in all kinds of tracks and all kinds of weather. I mean, if Australia wasn't a factor in the rain, then for sure Silverstone was. Like, it just proves they're going to be fast everywhere, no matter what. Because at one point, they were both like 13 seconds ahead before the first safety car. Yeah. And it was only going to grow as the race went on. Nobody's catching them. No. It's hard to see, but I think Oscar's got to kind of reel himself back in. You know, he's got 2 weeks off before we go to Spa. He's got to kind of reel himself back in because that's 2 weeks in a row that he's kind of, you could see the pressure is almost starting to get to him a little bit. He's still driving out of his mind. He's still in a very fast car, but I think he can't let it get too much.
I mean, you look at it, he's still technically a young driver.
Yeah, I mean, he's only
the first year that he's contending for the title, so obviously that pressure is going to build and get to him eventually. Like, Oscar isn't this fucking machine.
As much as he tries to act like it.
Like, obviously the emotions are going to be there, the pressure is going to be there. So 2 weeks. Take your time.
Yeah, and he was pretty upset after the race. He didn't agree with the penalty.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't agree with the penalty.
Yeah, well.
when you look at the numbers,
I just look at the footage.
Yeah, and if that's not enough for you, you look at the numbers, and it's just like, hey, like,
can't argue.
I think the biggest argument is when you look at 10-second penalty. I mean, Max drove into the side of George earlier this season and only got 10 seconds. I say that as a Max fan because, hey, but the stewards make the rules, and if anybody wants to know like what the guidelines are, they've made the guidelines public now. You can go pull up the guidebook as to what the stewards look at and what they decide is a penalty and how harsh it should be.
Yeah.
If you don't agree with it, sorry, but if you do, cool. I mean, just read the book.
Yeah, read the book.
Read the book.
Read the book.
Can we talk about Ferrari?
Do we have to?
I mean,
I said it. I really don't care. Nico brought my cheer up, but I mean, in the beginning it wasn't good. You know, going into qualifying, you know, you had done so well in the practice sessions. Going into Q1, Q2, Ferrari were at the top. I think in Q2, going into Q3, what they were top 2?
Yeah,
we were top 2, and so I was like, okay, let's see what we can do in Q3. Not the best, obviously. Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, considering how fast this car has looked compared to the beginning of the season. So I just started going into it. You know, Lewis is pretty up there. Maybe he could get his podium. Charles was one of the few drivers that tried to go on slicks in the beginning of the race. Didn't work out for any of them. Yeah. Pretty dumb move, if I'm being honest, considering you see how much rain was coming afterwards. Like, don't know what the thought process was. I'm just glad it wasn't just Ferrari this time that wasn't making the mistake.
Yeah, there was a few teams that went in early on slicks, and you kind of questioned it because like, a lot of drivers were reporting like, the first 2 sectors of the track were drying, but that third sector was still really wet, and there was more rain coming in like 10 laps.
Yeah.
So you ride it out, maybe make a pit stop after that, like everyone else did for fresh inners.
Yeah, I mean, just for Charles just seems to always struggle when the weather gets bad for no reason. He's still I don't trust Charles when the weather gets bad, and it's very upsetting and very nerve-wracking. So
there was that big moment he went off track early in the race, and he pretty much waterboarded himself.
I mean,
because he got a big splash of water. It went into his visor. He was
from the beginning, I was like, okay, Charles.
Yeah.
Tough shit. Like, you're not going to do anything. So I went to Lewis. Lewis had a pretty good race. He had the clean double overtake towards the one of the restarts, I think. And that was really cool to watch. Towards the end, I think he's on softs. He's trying to catch up with Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
About a 7-second gap between them. But, I mean, at that point, he was gaining, but then he made a small mistake. Only like 5 laps left.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to catch up. So, I mean, 4th place isn't terrible, but when you look at the podium streak he's had, you know, it's like, okay, that's kind of tough. But, I mean, the fact that we were able to get a top 5 out of that race is pretty good. We're still second in the constructors, so, I mean, yay, I guess.
I mean, because Charles finished, what, P14?
Nah, I don't even know.
It was rough to see. I mean, you just question, like, when they start, even when things start going well in practice and qualifying. Well, I mean, things went well in practice, and then qualifying hit, and it's almost like they lost all their pace.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Red Bull and Ferrari right now are just like racing to see because my biggest complaint with Red Bull this weekend was they gave Max the setup for qualifying that helped him in pole, but you knew it was going to rain on Sunday.
Yeah.
You knew that setup wasn't going to work. So why not take the gamble, see how he does, and maybe start farther back and hope the weather plays a factor? Like, I mean, look at Nico. He started P19 and finished on the podium.
Even then, he was doing really well, in my opinion. Max was doing really well at the start. Yeah. It's just, obviously, the brake check.
He was struggling, too. Like, he didn't have the speed in the corners that he would have if the track was dry. At one point, I was like, halfway through the race, I was like, just let it dry. Just stop raining, let it dry, and hopefully he can make, like, especially after the spin.
Yeah.
And he made up places. He still finished P5. You know, after everything that happened, he had a decent race.
Yeah.
It's just, man, I can't get over what we've praised James Val for what he's done in Williams. I've constantly said Williams is back. They struggled. Carlos got damaged when Charles lost it at one point. And his race was pretty much shot. Albon finished in the points. So that was good for them. But we got to give credit to Jonathan Wheatley, too, for what he's done with the Sauber. I mean, it's just to see 2 teams like that and where they're at, even with Williams' struggles, to see those two teams take new leadership, new teams, and, Gabby has struggled this season, but he's a rookie. Nobody expected
Gabby was one of the many rookies to get out this past race, but I mean, past couple of races before that, he's been doing really well.
He was starting to get his feet under him. It's going to be interesting to see where Sauber goes the second half of the season, because they've been making huge strides.
Yes.
And I want to see where Williams goes, because this weekend, they struggled in qualifying, but they made up some places, and they look like they were kind of getting back to what they were doing early in the season. Yeah. So hopefully they can bounce back. Alpine.
Ivan. Okay, wait, no, he's not here.
We're going to talk about Alpine because Pierre finished in the points. Pierre had a decent race. He fought with Lewis for a little bit. He fought with Max for a little bit. He got a chance to fight with some of those guys he usually doesn't get to fight with.
Yeah.
He finished, what was it, P7, P8? Yeah. I think it was, something like that. Let's see.
The order was all mixed up.
He was P6.
Yeah.
So he finished just behind Max. I mean,
he's doing the best. He's doing the best he can, like he has been his entire career.
It's crazy to see though that where he's at, and he's getting everything he can out of that Alpine car, and then you see the rookies.
Colapinto.
Duhan didn't last. Colapinto, his time's up.
Yeah.
So I guess the question now is, where do they go next?
I mean,
we've seen them linked to names like
Bottas,
Checo.
I honestly think if I'm Alpine, I just go get Bottas. Yeah, Bottas seems like the safe driver. Obviously, he's in talks with Cadillac.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm doing everything in my power to go get Bottas, because Bottas has proven himself in the past couple of years. Obviously, this Alpine car isn't great, but I mean, you need that driver who can be with Gasly to compete, because I mean, you're just not competing right now with Duhan or Colapinto.
Yeah.
If I'm Alpine, I'm not going, okay, Colapinto, you're not doing well. Okay, let's go back to Duhan.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing that. I'm going out and seeing if I can get a better driver, because they're in last.
Yeah, they're dead last right now.
You have to pull something out to make sure this season isn't a complete failure.
Yeah. I think the shunt in qualifying for Colapinto essentially ended his F1 career.
Yeah.
I think I was a big fan of Colapinto when he first came in, but to see where we're at now with him, I think it's safe to say maybe he was a little overrated.
Probably. I mean,
you hate to say it because he was doing well.
Yeah.
But then we saw in the second, towards the end of the season, and you kind of chalked it up like he's still a rookie. He's still early. He's only had 4 races. He comes in to replace Duhan, and he hasn't made any stride. Hasn't done. I don't think he's made it out of Q1, maybe Q2. In qualifying, hasn't finished in the points. He just hasn't done well.
No.
And so now with his short 5-race, 6-race contract, whatever it was, over with, you wonder what's next.
Yeah.
So I saw a report that Flavio was asking Mercedes about Bottas. So I think the thing is, if you bring Bottas or Checo in to finish this season, they're both going to want contracts for next year.
Yeah.
So it's not just, hey, come finish the next 12 races for me. It's, hey, let me do this the rest of this season, this whole second half, and then I want to race next year too. I want that seat.
Yeah.
So Flavio's got to be willing to make that deal. I think for drivers like Bottas and Checo, you do.
Yeah.
And you hope Pierre doesn't try to go anywhere, and hope your car can get better next year.
Yeah.
I mean, Ivan has said time and time again, he's excited about getting Mercedes power units.
Yeah.
They're looking like the strong favorites next year, so maybe something comes up. I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see where they go, because we still got 12 races left, and these rookies haven't done it for them in that pink car. So, man,
It's a lot.
It's a lot, man. There's just so many moves going on, and you just see so many teams that you don't expect at the top, finishing at the top right now. Red Bull's in shambles. Ferrari should have been competing for the constructors at the very least.
Yeah.
With McLaren, and they're in second, but they're nowhere even close.
No.
The championship fight is down to the two drivers on the same team. Like, we're only halfway through the season, man. I was expecting a super competitive season this year.
Yeah.
We haven't really gotten that. Last year, I think it was a little more competitive. To a point. I think we've just got more chaos than anything this year.
Yeah. Which at least is entertaining.
I mean, yeah, it's entertaining. But, we've only had a few boring races.
Yeah.
Monaco being one of them, which we always expect. And then I think Japan was probably one of the next ones.
Yeah,
which wasn't boring for me because that was.
but your guy won.
Max's last win.
Yeah, like I said, I take my moments when I can.
Yeah, and I think that's where, like I said, I've been trying to live and die by Max wins.
I've been trying to get behind the Lando, wagon, like trying to.
Do it. I can't do it.
I'm trying. I'm trying my best. Towards the beginning of the season, I really was, but then Lando kept not doing good. So
I think we could say that Lando bounced back from that moment where he crashed into the back in Canada, and he's bounced back pretty quick, pretty well. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
So we won. We talked about it. We didn't know. He's bringing the fight to Oscar now, and kudos to him. I'll give the credit where credit's due.
Yes.
Now it's Oscar's turn. Can you bounce back? Can you keep the pressure up?
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about Lando, how we think he doesn't have that championship mentality. Crashed in Canada, and now he's won back-to-back race, back-to-back, right?
Yeah, back-to-back.
Hey, man, this is a great start.
Yeah.
After what happened in Canada, it almost looked like, oh man, like Oscar could run away with it. Lando now has to have that mentality, like, no, like, I'm still here. I'm going to fight back. And he's been doing it. So hopefully into the second half of the season, he could do that. And they can at least, they owe us a championship race.
Yeah. I think they got to make it interesting somehow.
Yeah.
So I do like that Zach and Andrea have been letting them race. They're going to let them fight. And it looks like it's going to carry on all season. If we're lucky, it comes down to Abu Dhabi and they're racing, we get some 2021, action between the McLaren boys. Nothing would make me happier. They're probably going to wrap up the constructors and while we're in Austin.
Yeah,
but
I need that championship battle between them two with that fast car. Both are great drivers. It has to happen.
I mean, it's all we got to look forward to.
It's all we got to look forward to.
We have 2 weeks off after this. Yeah. We have 2 weeks off. No race this weekend, no race next weekend. But then we go back-to-back in Spa and then in the Hungaroring.
Yeah.
Those are two really fast tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably going to be a McLaren dominance again. But I'm interested to see where everyone else comes up in those two races because I don't know. I mean, it's just the summer break felt really weird too because we're 2 weeks off. We get 2 back-to-back races, and then there's 3 weeks off. So it's like,
yeah, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's weird breaks the way they shifted the calendar this year. Next year is probably going to be even weirder with the way they shifted the calendar. But, I guess we'll see. I mean, you got any early thoughts going into Spa? 2 weeks?
No, not really. I'm still processing Silverstone, if I'm being completely honest, and all the random news we've been getting. But I mean, it's gonna be a fun race at Spa. The track is amazing.
Love that track. That's probably my favorite track.
Like, speaking of the F1 movie, you see Brad Pitt talking about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I got to race at Spa.
It's one of my dreams to sit in the grandstands on Eau Rouge and just watch the race.
Yeah.
Watch F1, watch the 24 hours of Spa. A race.
A race.
Because
go-kart, I don't care.
They just had the 24 hours of Spa a couple weeks ago. And there was a picture that came out of, because Max's Verstappen.com GT3 car was racing in it.
Yeah.
And was it his GT3 car? I think it was.
I think so.
One of his cars was racing in it. There's a photo where they're coming through Eau Rouge and the sun setting. Bro,
it's so good.
Put me in those grandstands once before I die.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll see. We got 2 weeks off, so we might not have an episode next week just because.
Yeah.
I think we could pull one off if there's some huge news.
If there's some huge news, we're getting
somebody gets replaced at Alpine.
Yeah.
Max decides to go to Mercedes and call it, there's a lot of things sitting in the balance right now as far as drivers, and there's a few open seats, and we're halfway through the season. Things are going to start getting interesting.
Never know when Cadillac are going to announce the driver lineup.
We never, or if they're even going to open the doors for us to see. It could happen
in an hour, and we might have to come back.
Cadillac's going to host another event, and it's going to be like us on Twitter waiting to hear something.
To see what happens.
It's just Terry Crews saying, "Oh, that was awesome." Yeah, man. It's a lot of things moving, a lot of moving parts behind the scenes, off the track. On the track, it's McLaren dominance right now.
Yeah, with chaos behind them.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I do want to shout out before we go to any and everyone who watched last week's episode, anyone who shared it, anyone who liked it. It was our most successful episode to date.
Yes,
of the pod, and we really appreciate all the support.
I know if I were here, he would say the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Just appreciate all the support on the last episode.
Yeah, it did really well, and we really appreciate it. Hopefully, we keep y'all entertained and keep the love going. Any last thoughts on Silverstone? Any last thoughts going into Spa in 2 weeks? Nothing?
I got all I needed to get out.
Yep. All right. Before we go, I want to shout out the sponsors. Big City Wings, Paulo's Wing Joint, Houston's Wing Joint, and Zing Zang Responsibly, America's #1 Bloody Marys. As always, I'm Junior.
Mark.
We'll see y'all next week. We're out. Peace.